Most men try to win women with gifts, looks, or charm, and that's exactly why they're forgotten. But Machiavelli saw deeper. He knew something darker, something most men never understand. The goal isn't to be liked, it's to be unforgettable. Not by pleasing her, but by controlling what she feels when you're gone. In this video, you'll learn 9 dark psychological frameworks inspired by Machiavelli, designed to trigger obsession without saying a word of flattery. No chasing, no performing, no begging for love. You'll learn how to become the man she can't explain, but also can't stop thinking about. Watch closely, because once you see how this works, you'll never play the game like an average man again. The power of fear over love. There's a quote by Machiavelli that most men ignore, not because it's wrong, but because it's uncomfortable. It is much safer to be feared than loved. At first, this sounds cruel, like something only a villain would believe. But look closely, not at what people say, but at what they do. Watch how women behave around different types of men. And suddenly, that sentence makes sense. Love can feel warm. Software kind. It's the emotion we all crave, but also the one we easily take for granted. When love is always there, always giving, always soft, it loses its weight. It becomes background noise, safe, yes, but also forgettable. And here's where most men fall. They think love is enough. They believe that if they give more, show more, open up more, she'll value it. But what happens? She stops feeling it. Because what is freely given without challenge holds no power. Now enter fear, not the kind that hurts, not yelling, not control, not violence. That's weakness trying to look like strength, and women can smell it. Real fear is when a man has boundaries so firm she feels them, without him saying a word. He doesn't need to raise his voice, he doesn't need to argue, he doesn't need to explain his worth. He simply moves away. And the silence teaches her what words never could. This man doesn't chase. He doesn't explain why he was hurt. He doesn't beg for her to stay. He simply lets her feel the absence. And that absence hits harder than any emotional outburst. Because the moment she realizes he's serious, the game changes. She knows he won't break his own rules just to keep her. She knows that if she disrespects him, she loses him. And that's when attraction becomes obsession. Not because he gave her more, but because he was willing to give nothing when his values were crossed. That is fear. Not the fear of a man, but the fear of losing a man she can't control. And here's the psychological secret. Most women aren't obsessed with being loved. They're obsessed with the man who doesn't need their love to feel complete. That's why women chase the man who walks away. That's why they respect the one who doesn't fold. That's why they keep thinking about the man who never begged. He wasn't mean. He wasn't cruel. He was just unshakable. He had something 99% of men don't. Standards that weren't for sale. So when Machiavelli said, "It is safer to be feared than loved," he wasn't rejecting love. He was teaching you that respect must come first. That without fear of loss, love becomes lazy. And that the deepest desire comes not from what you give, but from what you're willing to take away if she doesn't value it. So remember this. She may love you, she may enjoy your company, but if she doesn't fear losing you, you're replaceable. But if she knows, deep down, that you won't stay where you aren't respected, you'll never have to ask for her attention again, because she'll be the one fighting to earn yours. That's not cruelty, that's psychological gravity, that's dark attraction, and that's the power of fear over love. Master the image. Machiavelli once said something brutally simple and terrifyingly true. It is not necessary to be good, it is necessary to appear good. This one sentence breaks the spell most men live under, because from childhood, we're trained in a lie. If you're kind, loyal, hardworking, and honest, people will respect you. Women will desire you, the world will reward you, but it won't. Because the world doesn't see your truth, it sees your presentation. You can be loyal, you can be intelligent, you can have deep values and noble intent. But if you show up with weak posture, uncertain tone, anxious energy, no one will feel your worth, especially not a woman, because female attraction doesn't begin with facts. It begins with perception, not "what are you?" but "what do I feel when I'm around you?" She's not analyzing your logic, she's scanning your energy, how you walk, how you speak, how you react when tested. And that's where image becomes power. This isn't about lying. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about framing. Because humans don't respond to truth. They respond to what feels true. And if you don't control how you're seen, someone else, her emotions, her biases, her past, will define you for her. So what does this mean in action? When you feel unsure, stand like a man who is certain. When you feel anger, speak like a man who controls fire. When you want to chase her, do nothing. Let her come toward you, because in stillness is power. In mystery is attraction. Let her see 80% of who you are. Leave the rest behind your eyes. Let her imagination fill in the gaps. And what she creates in her mind will often be far more powerful than anything you say. Because mystery is magnetic. And humans don't chase what they fully understand, they chase what they can't quite grasp. This is how obsession begins. Not with oversharing, but with silence. Not with convincing, but with presence. So stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to be understood. Start shaping your image. Because in a world ruled by perception, image is not just everything, it's the game. Be the lion and the fox. Every woman will test you, not to hurt you, but to see if you break. She'll shift her tone. She'll pull away. She'll go cold, then warm, then cold again. She'll say one thing and do another. And all of it is to see one thing. Do you collapse or do you hold? Most men don't even know they're being tested. They think she's confused or emotional. So they explain, they apologize, they try to fix things with words, and just like that, they lose the game. But Machiavelli, centuries ago, gave the blueprint. A powerful man must be both a lion and a fox. The lion is power. He doesn't chase, he doesn't explain. He creates boundaries with his silence. He commands the room without raising his voice. The fox is intelligence. He doesn't react to bait. He doesn't reveal his hand. He listens and strikes when the moment is clean. And here's the trap most men fall into. If you're only the lion, strong, direct, forceful, she'll find a way to provoke you. And when you explode, she sees you as unstable. Your power becomes noise. If you're only the fox, clever, calm, calculating, she'll feel your charm, but not your spine. And without that fire, she won't trust you to lead. But if you are both, if she sees strength in your stillness and calculation in your silence, she won't know how to predict you. And that uncertainty, that tension, that's what hooks her deeper than words ever could. So how do you embody both? When she's emotional, be the fox. Watch, don't react. Let her test crash against your calm. When she crosses a line, be the lion. Not with anger, not with threats, but with presence. A stillness that says, "This is my boundary, and I won't move." That's the man she respects. Not because you yell, but because you don't flinch. Not because you explain, but because you don't need to. She won't understand how to play you, because you don't play. You watch, you wait, you act when it matters. That's power. Not noise, not charm, but the fusion of strength and silence. The lion protects your respect. The fox protects your mind. And together, they make you unforgettable. Divide her world. Machiavelli's oldest law of power was simple: divide and conquer. But this isn't just for empires. It works quietly, inside the human mind. You don't control a woman by force. You don't fight her beliefs head on. You seed doubt and let her do the rest. Because when a woman feels certain, she's in control. She knows what she wants. She feels grounded, safe. Your goal? Not to destroy her beliefs, but to make her question them. Just one small, unexpected shift. Not an argument, a suggestion. She says, "I hate jealous men." You smile, calm, playful. That's what you think. Now. That one sentence creates a crack. Small, harmless, but deep. Now her mind starts spinning. What did he mean? Do I really believe that? Why did that stay in my head? That's how division begins. Not between you and her, but inside her. When part of her still agrees with herself, but another part starts to wonder. She loses control of the narrative, and you're the one who planted it. This isn't about control through pressure, it's control through psychological tension. Most men avoid this. They rush to agree with her, to be liked. They make her feel safe, validated, certain. But certainty doesn't attract. Tension does. Because when she's torn, when she feels curious, conflicted, unsure, her emotions stay open. And in that openness, your influence grows. Don't fight her beliefs. Just tap them, once, with calm. Then let silence do the work. She'll argue with herself. And without realizing it, you've entered her mind. Not as a threat, but as a mystery. That's Machiavellian seduction. Not dominance, not drama, surgical precision. Power that doesn't feel like power, because it feels like curiosity. And curiosity? That's the hook that keeps her circling you. Even when you say nothing at all. Reward in doses. Punish all at once. Machiavelli once said, "Injuries must be inflicted all at once, but benefits should be given little by little." This isn't just political strategy, it's emotional control. And it works in modern relationships better than most realize. Here's the truth. When someone crosses your boundary, you don't react emotionally. You don't argue, you don't explain, you act. One clean, cold move. Silence, distance, withdrawal, no shouting, no teaching, no guilt tripping, just the sudden loss of your presence. And that absence? It stings. Why? Because there's nothing to push against. She's left alone with her own thoughts and her own guilt. Her brain starts spinning. What did I do wrong? Why did he stop talking? Is he gone for good? And that silence becomes a mirror. Now, on the other side, comes the reward. But not all at once. When she's loyal, when she's warm, when she shows respect, you give her something small, rare, earned, a look, a subtle smile, a compliment that feels real. Then, nothing. You don't shower her with love. You don't make her feel she has you. You train her nervous system, just like a casino. She doesn't know when the next reward is coming. So she keeps playing. This is what makes it addictive. Not the size of the reward, but the timing. Too many men reverse the formula. They punish too often, they reward too quickly, they become emotional, unstable, predictable. But you punish once. No warning, no drama, just a line crossed and silence. And when she's in your frame again, you reward her slowly with just enough to keep her hungry. This is not cruelty, this is discipline. It's Machiavellian psychology wrapped in calm control. Because pain given fast is remembered, and pleasure given slow is craved. Now you're not just a man, you're a system she can't stop running. Watch her closely. Then say one line. Most men look at a woman's body. A Machiavellian man watches her behavior. He's not distracted by beauty. He doesn't stare with lust. He observes with silence and precision. He notices how she speaks when she's with a man she respects versus when she's with someone she controls. He tracks the subtle shifts, how her voice softens, how her gaze flickers, how her posture changes depending on who's watching. He pays attention to when she's performing and when she drops the act. No questions, no compliments, just presence. Because while other men try to enter her body, he's already entered her psychology. And then, when the moment opens, not before, not after. He drops one line, calm, precise, without emotion. You speak differently when he's around, or you laugh, but it doesn't feel real. No judgment, no tone, no smile. Then, silence. And in that moment, her reality shifts. Because that wasn't flattery. That wasn't something she could laugh off. That was truth she wasn't ready to hear. From a man who didn't ask for her approval. And the female mind, it doesn't forget moments like that. It replays them. Wait, how did he know that? What else is he seeing? Was I that obvious? Has he been watching this whole time? Now she doesn't feel admired, she feels exposed. And not by force, not by pressure, by presence. You didn't demand attention, you didn't fight for control, you simply watched what everyone else missed, and said what no one else dared to. That's psychological dominance. It's not loud, it's not aggressive, it's quiet power that leaves echoes in her mind long after you've walked away. Because when you say the one thing that touches a part of her no one ever noticed, you leave a mark. She will forget compliments, she will forget flings, but she won't forget the man who saw her mask and named it. Not to hurt her, but to remind her, you are not like the others. You don't want her image. You see the system behind it. And once she feels that, you live in her thoughts, even when you vanish from her sight. Control through absence. If you're always available, always responding, always present, you become predictable. And predictable is forgettable. But when you disappear, without warning, without drama, without explanation, you become unforgettable. Not because you punished her, not because you ignored her, but because you created a void. And the female mind? It cannot resist a void. It has to fill it. It has to understand what went missing and why. When you go silent, her mind begins to speak, louder than ever. She replays your last conversation. She rewinds every glance, every pause, every word you didn't say. She searches for clues that aren't there. Did I do something wrong? Why hasn't he reached out? Was he just pretending to care? Now she's no longer enjoying your attention. She's haunted by your absence. And that's the key. Because where most men over-explain, over-give, overstay, you vanish. Without a goodbye, without a fight. Not to create pain, but to create space. And in that space, she starts imagining you. She starts remembering you not as you were, but as something larger, colder, more powerful. Now, you're no longer a man. You're an unresolved question, a ghost of unfinished meaning. This isn't cruelty, it's psychological contrast. You give warmth, then take it away. You show presence, then retreat into shadow. And that shift, that emotional whiplash, it hits deeper than any compliment ever could. But listen closely. You don't disappear out of anger. You don't use it as a trick. You use it when your value is being taken for granted. Because timing matters. Absence only works when presence had power. And when you return, calm, unfazed, unmoved, she won't greet you with anger. She'll greet you with curiosity and fear. Because she knows you can walk away at any time and not flinch. That's not manipulation, that's gravity. And gravity doesn't chase, it pulls. So disappear, just long enough for her to wonder if she ever really had you at all. Be her turning point. If you want to live in her mind forever, don't just be a man she liked. Be the moment her world changed. Not the boyfriend, not the fling. Be the shift in her story. The truth is, women don't remember all the men they date, but they never forget the man who triggered something deep inside them. Something emotional, something they didn't even know was waiting to be seen. This isn't about gifts, looks, or charm. It's about impact. Say what others are too afraid to say. Look her in the eye and name what she hides. Not to shame her, but to show her you see her. Not just her surface, not her beauty, but her truth. And when you do that, without seeking praise, without trying to impress, you don't just enter her life, you restructure it. Freud once said, "Emotional memory shapes desire. People crave what marks them emotionally." And Machiavelli? He understood that the man who controls the story controls the mind. So control it, not by forcing it, but by becoming the chapter she can't rewrite. Maybe you were the first man who didn't chase her, the first one who set a standard and actually walked away when it was crossed. Maybe you challenged her beliefs, made her pause, made her question who she thought she was, and then you left. Not bitter, not begging. Just gone. But not really, because in her mind, you stayed. You became the man tied to her transformation. And that kind of presence, it doesn't fade with time. She might move on, she might laugh, she might even forget your name out loud. But she'll never forget the version of herself that was born after you. Because in her secret world, behind every smile, there's a memory that whispers, "He changed me." And once you become the turning point in a woman's story, you no longer have to fight for space in her heart. Final words. Control begins here. Let's be clear. These aren't just lines. They're not tricks. They're not pickup tactics. They are psychological structures built to press deep, hidden switches in the female mind. Switches that shift her from logic to obsession, from control to craving. Most men try to get her attention. They joke, they chase, they perform. But what you're building here is presence. The kind of presence that doesn't make her laugh. It makes her pause, think, feel, even when she doesn't want to. You're not here to entertain her. You're not here to prove anything. You're not her fan, her follower, or her therapist. You are the man who shifts her center of gravity. Not by shouting, not by pleasing, but by saying the one thing that cuts through her defenses and leaving it there. You create silence. You create mystery. You create space in her mind that she can't fill with anyone else. This is not softness. This is precision. And most men will never understand it, because they're too addicted to approval to see the structure behind emotion. But if something inside you shifted while watching this, if a deeper instinct in you woke up, then this isn't just a video. This is a signal that you're done playing the game like everyone else, that you're done begging for love, affection, or attention, that you're ready to build gravity instead of chasing validation. So here's what I want from you. If this message hits something real in you, comment the word control below. One word, no explanation. It tells me you're not here for entertainment. You're here to take the wheel. And if you're ready to learn how deep this goes, if you want to master attraction, power, and emotional dominance in silence, subscribe now, because what's coming next won't just show you how to win her, it will show you how to become the kind of man who doesn't need to.